Uh, so Mark, I heard that you are going to be leaving Tokyo pretty soon.
I am. I'm getting out of the city.
Oh man. So, when you go back to America, are you going to live in a big city like Atlanta or
Uh,
Birmingham?
yeah, I'm from Birmingham, which is a kind of medium-sized city, but there's a lot of access to the countryside because Birmingham's a medium-sized city, but Alabama is very rural, so lots of mountains, lots of countryside, and I'm actually looking forward to getting into that setting again.
Oh man. I don't know, dude. I grew up on a farm and I lived way out in the country growing up and I can't stand the country now. I mean,
Really?
yeah, I've lived in big cities, San Francisco, London, Bangkok, Tokyo.
But don't you miss like fresh air and the views? Don't you get tired of just concrete jungle and buildings and
That's true. I mean, when you're in the country, you have fresh air and you do have, the beauty and this and that, but it's just boring. It's the same five people, you
it
know?
is true. But actually, I find it's harder to meet people in a big city because there's so many people. So nobody really cares to stop and talk to you because there's a million other people around. But if you're in a small town or out in the country, the few people you do meet, you form a good relationship with.
Yeah, that's somewhat true, but there's no energy, the country's slow. You can't just go to any restaurant at any time. You can't, go see a museum or go see a ball game or go to a nightclub. And it's just a lot of sitting around.
Well, that's true. And if I do, every time I go back to the country, I always miss those things like a museum and concerts, things like that. But I'm just able to relax so much more when I'm out in a rural setting.
Well, I hope you have a good time.
Thanks.
So, Mark, you're going back to America.
Yes.
Man, where are you going to live when you go back?
Well, temporarily I'll stay at my parents' house in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay. And where are you going to live after that?
Well, I'm not sure. I might move down to South Florida. Florida is kind of my second home, and um, yeah, I'd like to actually one day get a house down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're actually going to buy a house?
Well, I'd like to someday. I mean, I'd prefer to own my own home instead of always renting an apartment somewhere.
Yeah, but see, I think it's better to rent. Because, when you rent a house, you don't have to worry about losing your job or if you have to relocate. You don't have to worry about if there's a natural disaster. And in Florida, you seem to love those hurricanes down
Yeah,
there,
that's definitely true.
you know?
Yeah, but there's something about owning your own house that, this is my house, but if I'm renting, it's like someone else, you know, I mean, someone else does own your house, and there's that feeling of like you depend on them, for your lodging. But if it's your house, you own it, then there's a sense of independency in that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But on the other hand, I just love my free time. And when you rent, you just got more free time. When you own a house, you have to do maintenance. You have to do all the paperwork for taxes and, city government stuff like that. When you rent, it's just really easy.
Yeah. Well, the maintenance stuff though can be fun. It depends on how you look at it. Like, if it's your house, you actually might be motivated to make it look better because you take pride in, where you live and that it's your house. Um, and I mean, what do you do in your free time anyway? Like, what do you
Mm.
do in your free time? So,
What do I do in my free time?
yeah.
Well, I don't fix pipes and work on plumbing and garden, that's for sure.
Well,
So,
but why not? I mean, like,
yeah, good point. It's true.
Hey Brett, how are you?
Pretty good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Hey, do you want to play a game?
Sure, what sort of game?
Let's play 20 questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, who am I thinking about?
Male? Is it a male?
Yes, it's a male.
Is he an actor?
Yes, he's an actor.
Does he have short hair?
Yes, he has short hair.
Right. Is he famous?
Yes, he's famous.
Does he have blue eyes?
Yes.
He does have blue eyes.
No, he has. No.
He doesn't have blue eyes.
No, he doesn't have blue eyes.
Does he have brown eyes?
Yes.
Is he short?
No.
Um, is he in the Ocean's 12?
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
Okay. Is he married currently?
No.
He isn't married.
No.
Okay. Is he tall?
Yes.
Okay. Is he George Clooney?
Yes.
Woohoo! Great. Okay, my turn now. Who am I thinking about?
Is he a male?
Yes.
Is he an actor?
No.
Is he a singer?
No.
Is he a politician?
Yes.
Does he have white hair?
Yes.
Is he American?
No.
Is he British?
No.
Is he Australian?
Yes.
Is he is he your prime minister?
He is.
Is he John Howard?
Yes, he is. Well done.
Hi, you're Senem, am I right?
That's right. And you're Sean?
Yeah, I'm from Canada, and I heard that you're from Australia.
Yep, that's right.
Oh, that's great, because I'm thinking about going to Australia on exchange, but I'm not sure where to go or what universities to go to, or even which city that I should be looking at.
Well, what time of the year will you be going to Australia?
I'm thinking about going between, let's see, November and February.
Well, that's a great season. It's very hot then.
Yeah, I expected it would be summer down there.
It is.
So which cities would you recommend for, well, a good atmosphere or a good university?
I would recommend in Melbourne for sure, only because I'm from Melbourne and the weather is actually pretty nice in Melbourne. It's not that hot during the day and it's not that cold at night times. Um, One of the main universities in Melbourne is Monash University, and it's well known for its business courses. It's a little bit expensive, but if you can also receive scholarships from Monash. So,
Well, Monash, I'm actually interested in something to do with architecture. So, I mean, I look at the Sydney Opera House, and I'm wondering if there's anything that would teach me architecture, is kind of like how they designed the Opera House.
I see. RMIT is well known for architecture courses, so I would suggest RMIT for sure in Melbourne.
RMIT.
Yes.
Great, I'll look it up when I get there.
All right.
Um, you said that Monash University was expensive, but how about RIT, or was it
RMIT?
RMIT?
Yes.
Ah, how much is that per year? Or
It's not as expensive as Monash. Um, RMIT is located in the city, so it's easy to get by through trams and trains and buses. And it's not that expensive for transportation. And housing is pretty cheap, especially if you do homestay. You'll find that it'll be really cheap. Um, Good luck.
great, does RMIT have a website that I can look at?
It does. Just go to www.rmit.com.au.
All right, I'll get there.
Hi, Sanam. How are you?
Good, thank you, Brett. How are you?
Very good. So let's talk about family today.
Alrighty then.
So, how large is your family?
Well, I'm actually the only child, but I
Hmm.
have a very large extended family.
Hmm. What ethnicity is it? Are
My
you?
family's Turkish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we were all like, my family immigrated from Turkey about 20 years ago.
Hmm.
So we all came down to Turkey, and I was born in Australia
Hmm.
actually. And I have a lot of family in Turkey as well as Australia now.
Do you still practice Turkish customs,
Of course,
even though you're living in Australia?
definitely. We always have Turkish meals, do Turkish, celebrate Turkish days. And
Like what kind of Turkish days?
for example, we have Children's Day,
Hmm.
and we celebrate that, where the children actually go to the elder members of their families, and they go visit them, and they actually receive some money. So it's
Really?
quite interesting, yeah.
What other holidays do you celebrate?
Also, we celebrate, it's called Lolly Day.
Lolly Day.
Yeah. Um, and the whole aim of it is once again to go to the elderly and to see them and to tell them that we care about them still and that we are still thinking of them, even though we don't see them probably every other day.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's about it. How about you, Brett? How many people are in your family?
I I have one younger brother and just my mom and dad,
I see.
and
How about your extended family?
extended family. I have a lot of extended family
Uh-huh.
on both sides. It's too many to count, really. So,
So do you get together like on the weekends or anything like that?
uh, yeah, sometimes. My uncle has a very nice place that has a pool, and all my cousins go out there every weekend, and we have a lot, usually a barbecue.
Oh, sounds so cool.
Yeah.
I pretty much do the same. We always try and organize some barbecues and things like that down by the beach or at the parks, and we get together a whole bunch of people, about maybe 20 to 30 people, have
Mhm.
lots of meat, so it's
Lots of meat.
quite good. Yeah, the kids go running around everywhere.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, how are
Hey.
classes going?
Well, it's exam time right now, and you know what? I really think I'm gonna fail this one class.
Why is that?
Well, it's not any of my fault. It's actually, I think that the teacher doesn't like me.
He doesn't like you? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I mean, I go up and I ask him questions, and he disagrees with me, but he actually takes personal offense to what I say,
Personal offense?
which is funny, right?
Like, what do you mean?
Like, I'll give you an example. I went up because I didn't get a question on my homework right, and I asked him why I didn't get any marks for it. And the question in the book asked you for your own opinion. So I did write my own opinion. But when I went up to talk to him about the question, he said that what I had written wasn't in the book, so I got no points for it.
So, what's the point of asking for your own opinion?
See, that's the funny part. I don't know. What about you? How are your classes going?
My classes are going okay. Right now, I'm really just working on my thesis, and it's it's taken me a long time to gather all the materials and resources and go through all the readings, but it's going okay, I think.
How many pages do you have to write for your thesis?
I probably have to write about 20 pages or so, and I have to survey about 1,000 people, and it's taken me a long time to analyze all that data.
20 pages? That's not. Is that double spaced or single spaced?
That's double spaced,
So
so
that's not that much,
yeah,
really.
it's about 10,000 words or so.
Uh, well, I hope you do well, and good luck to your research.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Hey Todd, when you look back on your high school experience, in general, do you see it as a positive or a negative experience?
Oh, definitely positive. It was one of the best times of my life.
Yeah?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, it was being with your friends and driving for the first time and having your first part-time job and playing sports and going to dances. It was great.
Now, did a lot of high schools in the States, I went to high school in the States, and a lot of high schools there are these cliques.
Yeah.
There's like a popular group of kids, and then there are other kids who don't really feel like they belong.
Right.
Yeah, I know you, Todd, and you strike me as you were probably one of the popular kids. So of course you're going to think high school was great.
Well, no, actually, I wasn't one of the popular kids, but I was in the popular group. So I played sports, so I was one of the jocks.
Yeah, one of the jocks always they get into the popular cliques easier. So can you imagine like how somebody might feel that wasn't in one of those groups, that they might have hated high school?
Well, I don't know who hated high school, but I remember there were the motorheads. Those were the guys that were always working on their car. They had really nice cars that they fixed up. They probably didn't like high school too much. Then there were the drama freaks, and the drama freaks they dressed really different, and they were kind of into punk at that time. And they were very artistic and very creative, very smart, and because they were so different, I think a lot of kids made fun of them, so maybe they didn't like high school.
Now, were you one of the kids that made fun of them?
Definitely not. I mean, I was never that way. Actually, I was the kid that somehow was friends with everybody, because even though I was with the jocks, I wasn't a good jock. I was a terrible athlete, so I was maybe just surviving by being friends with them anyway. But yeah.
And you're a good baseball player, though, right?
Actually, I was, but I didn't play baseball because in high school because I wanted to make money. I wanted to get a part-time job and get a car, so I stopped. I played football and basketball though.
Okay. Now, most high schools, just about every high school, after 10 years, you have a high school reunion. Did you go to your 10-year high school reunion?
I did not go to my high school reunion. My friends went, and they said it was a pretty good time. Everyone had changed, but I didn't go. Have you been to yours?
I did. I went to mine last year.
Oh, really? Did everybody still look the same?
For the most part, what I found interesting is the popular cliques that I talked about before. They still existed. It was 10 years later, and it was like all the popular, they're not kids anymore, but all the popular people were hanging out together, and all the nerds were kind of standing around on the side and looking lonely and depressed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. So Todd, what would you say was best moment of your whole high school experience?
Oh, wow. My best moment was, I played football, and they never gave me the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I always sat on the bench. And then one game, I actually got to touch the ball and run with the ball.
Oh, wow.
And but unfortunately, it was also my worst moment, because as I was running with the football, you run forward, and there was nobody in front of me, and I tripped. And it was pretty embarrassing.
Like the field was open, you could have
scored it. Yeah,
wow.
I could have been the hero and all that, and I tripped. Yeah. But most of my negative stuff or my bad memories were all to do with girls.
Yeah, me too.
See, there was one time I asked a girl out to a date, and she said that she would go out with me, and I was so happy. And I was walking away from her, and I was waving, and at the last minute, I saw her turn away and flinch. And I thought, why is she flinching? Why is she turning away? And that's right about the time I walked right into a pole. It just about knocked me out. And so she didn't even come over and see if I was okay. She kind of just left me there because she figured I was embarrassed.
Oh, were you embarrassed?
Of course.
Of course.
There was another girl the year before that I had asked out for my first date. And so we went out to the movies, and then after the date, you have to walk her to the front door.
Right.
And you walk to the front door, and the main thing is, can you get a kiss goodnight?
Right.
So I was just so nervous that she wouldn't kiss me. And so then we walked to the front door, and she kissed me, and I was so happy
Yeah.
because I just felt like, wow, I got a kiss on my first date. And then I went to school the next Monday morning, and I'm walking through campus, and I feel really good because, I could say they got a kiss. And I walk up to my friends, and they just start laughing at me, and they're like, yeah, we talked with Laura. That was the girl's name. We talked with Laura, and she said you kiss like a fish.
Oh man.
So,
Oh, that's rough.
yeah, it's pretty bad. My moment of glory was ruined. So, Jayon, you like to go to nightclubs.
Yes.
Okay. When you go to a nightclub, what do kids wear these days? Like, what makes you look cool in a nightclub, or how should you dress?
These days, being sexy is what kids prefer.
Uh-huh.
And by saying sexy, wearing a tank top and a top that shows a lot of your skin.
Okay. A lot of skin.
Uh-huh.
And so tank tops. So what about a guy? What would a guy wear for
A
a shirt?
guy would be wearing just casual hip hop pants
Uh-huh.
and maybe a polo shirt
A polo shirt?
or a top
Uh-huh. Like just a t-shirt?
t-shirt.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, now would a girl wear hip hop pants?
No. Girls wear also sexy clothes. Maybe short skirts
Uh-huh.
or comfortable jeans
Okay.
with high heels.
High heels.
Hmm.
Now, aren't high heels hard to dance in?
They are actually, but then it looks better with high heels on, so you
Oh,
look taller.
okay. What do the guys wear? Obviously, they don't wear high heels, so.
No. Guys wear sneakers,
Uh-huh.
pretty much.
Sneakers.
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you wear any type of jewelry or anything? Do you wear necklaces or?
I personally don't wear necklaces, but earrings, big hoops, silver ones. Those look really pretty at the clubs because it kind of shines.
Oh,
And makeup is really important too.
really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like for eyelashes, you want to have a really strong look for your eyes. And maybe lip gloss would look good on too.
Now, do the men wear makeup these days?
No, but then perfume would be a nice thing to put on for guys.
Okay. Now, you said you want to look sexy,
Mhm.
right? But you're 19, right?
Yes.
So when you go to the nightclub, can you leave your house looking like that, or is that something you have to hide from your parents?
First of all, I don't go to nightclubs that often
Uh-huh.
because I'm not a party girl.
Uh-huh.
But then I like dancing, so I only went to club once when I was in Korea. And I actually told my parents the truth that I am going to party at a club. So it was alright for me to wear a sexy clothes and then leave home.
Oh, that's good. You have very supportive parents.
Hmm.
Okay, well, thanks. So, Jeff, you're going back to Canada. What are you going to do? Just sit on the couch and watch TV?
No, I'm going to go on a trip with my father.
Really? Just your
Yes,
dad?
just me and my dad. We're going to go back to the island, the small island in eastern Canada that I was born on and that my dad lived on for about 12 years.
Cool.
And we haven't been back there together since. So,
So how long's it been?
28 years.
Whoa.
So, and the island it's a very interesting island. It's very rugged and rough, and the people that live there are very hard-nosed and hospitable, and um, most of it is very inhospitable. It's very rough and rocky, and lots of animals there, and very beautiful place. So it's a very unique and sort of exotic island to go
What's this
back to.
place called?
It's called Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland, yes, and it's a pretty notorious island around the world. Um, and my dad had four of his five kids there, and I was born there, and so it's a special place for him, and um, it's a curious place for me. I'm very curious about it because I haven't been back there since I was a child, since I was five. So it's going to be
Wow.
an interesting trip, I think.
What type of things do you plan to do with your father?
Well, we're going to take a ferry. It takes 24 hours to get there by ferry, so we will take a ferry there, and then we are going to drive on 4x4s, little four-wheeled vehicles like a motorcycle, from one side of the island all the way through the interior, through the woods, to the other coast, and it's over 1,000 kilometers, and it's pretty rough and slow, and we're just going to go through the woods, straight across the island through the woods.
In this truck?
In these, we each have a little 4x4, each have a little four-wheeled vehicle, and at night we'll camp in a tent and we'll have campfires and um,
Oh,
da-
you mean the off-road vehicles, like
yes,
the little buggy
yeah,
things?
yeah, yeah. And my dad will have a gun, so we'll probably shoot some animals and cook them up in the fire, and we'll go fishing. And so, yes, it'll just be very clean and very wholesome, very nice, quiet 2 weeks.
Are you a little worried about bears?
There's lots of bears around, but they don't usually. They won't hurt you if you make enough noise. They're scared of you. They're more scared of you than you are scared of them.
Okay,
Generally.
but don't they want to eat your food and stuff? Come and
Yeah, yeah, maybe, but but you take certain precautions, and you don't leave things lying around your camp, or you hang them from a tree, and usually the bears will leave you alone if you don't entice them with food by leaving things around the camp.
well, be
Mm.
careful. Sounds fun though.
Thank you. If you have time, you can come along.
Hey, so Jeff, you have an MBA, or you're studying to get an MBA?
I'm studying to get an MBA.
Okay. Why did you choose to get an MBA? You don't seem like the business type of guy. You're always talking about nature and
Mm,
travel and
mm.
art.
Um, this Masters of Business Administration in international tourism, that's my focus, international tourism, is purely out of necessity. Not really that I love to be a student or love studying, but I think it's in today's world, um, you need an edge to get a job, and I think this MBA will give me an edge uh, to get a job in the future.
So are you learning a lot in your program? Is this a good MBA program that you're in?
They say education is no burden. Max Lerner, I think, said education is no burden. But and I do the subject that I chose, international tourism, is an interesting topic, and I enjoy it. So I am learning. I'm reading a lot, and I am learning a lot on this subject, which is good.
Mm, I don't know, man. I'm actually getting a master's, and
Mm,
I'm getting a master's in education,
mm.
and I think it's a waste of time.
Well, I never think education is a waste of time, but I think it's the opportunity cost. What you could be doing instead of studying. And I think that's you have to really weigh out the options of the opportunity that you're giving up when you're spending all those hours reading and writing. And if you have nothing else better to do, I think, well, then, yeah, studying something that you're interested in is a good idea. It's better than watching TV or playing video games.
True, true.
Mm.
But sadly, I think most master's programs or most education systems are geared actually just to make money, and they have a system where they give the books, you read the books, you write the papers, but there's no real learning going on, and it's in effect, I think it's a waste of time. That
Mm.
that's not the real way that people learn. They learn by actually doing things or
Mm.
having a challenge and trying to accomplish the
Mm.
challenge using any resource possible.
Mm.
And it seems to me that most master's programs, MBA, education, whatever, they don't really teach that.
I agree with you. I think universities are now a business to make money, and the bottom line revenue is this what's this is what drives the university. But I do think that there is active and passive learning, like you said, and I think there is room for both. I think
Sure.
passive learning is good. I think active learning is better, but I think it's harder to do. It's harder to get the chance to do active learning. But I think passive learning is okay as long as it's not all you do.
Sure.
I think if you can couple them both together, some passive learning, some active learning, I think they're good together.
Well, I think sadly, the passive learning, the book
Mm,
learning, the reading and then writing,
mm,
it's cheaper to do.
mm,
So that's why
yes,
universities tend to stress that.
yeah. But no, I think I agree with you. I think it is a little bit of a waste of time. But if you have nothing else to do that's any better, then I think, yeah, education and studying and learning is a very good thing.
So, Jeff, let's talk about technology. These days, we have all types of new technology, computers,
Can we
MP.
can we just end this right now? I don't like technology, so can we talk about something else?
What? You don't like technology?
No, I don't like
What do you mean
technology.
you don't like technology?
Technology is, um, I think it's gone against what it was originally invented for, and that is for convenience, to make people's lives more easy, and to give them more free time. And I think it's totally gone against what it was originally invented to do.
Yeah, but technology does make our lives easier. Like it saves us time, it communicates, helps
But
people
does it save us
communicate.
time?
I think so. I mean, before you had to type something up, now you can just type it up on a word processor. It's quicker. Before you had to walk to a phone. Now the phone is in your pocket. You can just pick it up and call anytime, anywhere in the world.
Kind of. I kind of agree with that, but sometimes that walk to the phone was sort of pleasant and you had time to think about other things. But now, as you're walking to the phone, you're typing something into your PDA while you're listening to your MP3 player, and then you get into your car and drive to your office, and the first thing you do is check your email, and then right after that, you check your voicemail, and then you send an email to someone. And I think it's just sort of it's cluttered. It's cluttered our lives versus clean it up.
Yeah, but maybe if you did not have that, you would probably have something else that would just clutter up your life. I'm sure people were busy before they had technology.
I agree. I think they were busy, but maybe more wholesome things or less. I think you we our minds are sort of uh, our minds are always bombarded with images or um, news, and a lot of this stuff really isn't needed, but because it's there, we use it. I don't think we have to um, see so much news or uh, read so many different things on the internet and see so much on the television and the DVD player and get our news on our MP3 players and our little handheld computers, our PDAs. I think it's just we we fill our time now with things that uh, are not really needed or not maybe as useful or as clean as the old days reading and writing and poetry. And when was the last time you wrote a letter to one of your friends? A nice handwritten letter, put it
So,
in an envelope and put it in the mailbox,
about 3, 4 years.
or a postcard even.
4 years.
So I think it's
Hmm.
technology is good, but I think it's sometimes defeats its own original purpose.
Hey, Jeff, this is a very nice apartment.
Hmm. It's comfortable. It's cozy.
Yeah,
Japanese style.
I like it. It's got the tatami mat, small kitchen.
Hmm.
So, do you live alone?
I live alone, but right now I have a friend of mine staying with me.
Oh, really?
Yes.
A roommate?
Sort of like a roommate. Yes.
Ah, so
A
how's that?
short term, sure. He's staying with me short term. So yes, a roommate.
Okay, how's that going?
I don't like it.
Why?
He's lazy, he's messy, he drinks too much, he doesn't exercise, and he doesn't contribute any money to the rent.
Ooh, so he lives here and he doesn't give you any money.
Well, yeah, he doesn't give me any money. The money's not so bad though. It's just that he's lazy and he doesn't do much all
Right.
day.
Ah, that's gotta be pretty annoying.
He's a great fella. He's a good friend of mine. But yeah, he's. I try to motivate him to do a few things, but he's a tough one.
Oh, are you going to tell him that he has to move out?
No, he's a smart man. He knows the deal. He knows what's going on, and I think he's. Yeah, I'm not. No, I would never ask him to move out because I don't mind having him here. But I'm just going to try to whip him into shape.
Oh, so you're gonna just try to change him so he becomes a better roommate.
I'm going to be like a woman and try to, yeah, try to get him on a better schedule,
Yeah.
like exercise and eating right, and less smoking and less drinking.
Well, what is his schedule?
His schedule is he's like a night owl. He stays up most of the night drinking, and then he sleeps most of the day recovering, and then when he gets up, he has a hangover and he's a bit sluggish and slow. So it's not a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
Well, good luck.
No problem.
So, Rena, now you are Lebanese
Hmm.
and you grew up in a very small Canadian town.
Oh, yes.
So you really had two cultures. What's it like growing up with two cultures?
Um, in the beginning, it was very hard. My dad was very strict. I wasn't allowed to work. I had to fight to have my first job at 19.
Wow.
Wasn't allowed
At
to have
19?
19. I wasn't allowed to have a boyfriend, and I had to fight for that one too. And I didn't. My first boyfriend at 18. Wasn't allowed to go out. First high school dance was grade 11. So I hated it in the beginning. But now I appreciate it, and I know where my parents were coming from. Um,
So is this a standard Lebanese family type culture where the daughter's not allowed to work?
yeah. My dad basically believed that if I went out and worked, I would, be hit on by guys, and it just wasn't a place for his daughter. And typically before, yeah, women didn't work. They stayed home. They took care of the kids. It was typical patriarchal society. My my dad was very, very strict. And I spent a lot of my childhood pushing away my culture because of that.
And how do you feel about your culture now?
I'm very, very proud about it.
Hmm.
I love it. It's nice to be different, and I'm glad I get that chance to do that. Only thing when I was in Lebanon, it was hard as well because people didn't see me as Canadian, they didn't see me as Lebanese.
Right.
A lot of people didn't talk to me because of it. I went there and a lot of people shunned me basically. So
And
that
even though
was
you had no language barrier at all because you
no,
speak Lebanese.
yeah, no, they basically, they were mad at me because I was too Canadian, or they were mad at me that I wasn't enough Canadian, or like it was just, it was insane.
That's pretty
Yeah,
tough.
they have their image of what, Western society is like from movies, and because, I have my tattoos, they thought I was just basically Satan's spawn. And because I
Oh,
wasn't running around like a tramp, they
right.
thought, well, what is she doing? This is what she's supposed to, it was just the worst of both worlds, really.
Oh, that That's terrible.
Yeah, so because they have like I was and actually I have to specify this. I was in a village. Like my parents are both from villages.
Oh, I see.
So in Beirut it's different, but when I was in the villages where I stayed the majority of the time, it was like that. But I made the older ladies love me. They were talking to me at the end, having coffee with me while I smoked my cigarettes, and
Oh,
yeah, yeah,
oh, that's good to
yeah.
hear. So, Rena, where are you from?
I am from Davidson, Saskatchewan, and it's a small town in Saskatchewan, about 1,000 people, and I grew up there.
Now, Saskatchewan, that's a part of Canada that doesn't have a
Yes.
lot of people, right?
There's in the whole province there is 1 million people.
That's it?
Yeah. In all of Canada there's only like 33 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you only have one?
One of those 33 million.
Yeah, actually, is there any major Canadian cities in Saskatchewan?
Well, the capital is Regina.
Really?
Yeah, if you've heard of that.
No, I
But I live
haven't.
in like right now my parents live in Saskatoon.
Okay.
And my town is in between Regina and Saskatoon. I call it the Midway town.
What's it like growing up in a very small rural setting?
It was it was awesome. My parents, because they immigrated from Lebanon, were very strict with me, so I wasn't really allowed to do much until I was about in grade 11, when my brother was old enough to come with me.
Uh-huh.
But it was once I was able to start going out and going to dances and things like that, I loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Even in your small town?
In my small town, yeah, because I was very close with a lot of like very small class, so very very close with a lot of people there.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sounds good. So, in all of Canada, like when you go back and you settle down and you live in Canada, do
Mm.
you want to live in Saskatchewan?
No,
No?
no, it's not. It's I've developed a lot more since I was that age, and it's just not the same anymore. I'd like a bigger center, preferably Vancouver or Montreal on
Yeah.
one of the coasts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Not Toronto?
no, I'm not a big fan of Toronto
Oh, why?
because I'm a little jaded. When I was in '94, we went to Niagara Falls and we drove through Toronto, and it just was looked so busy and smoggy and just crazy. And so I never really liked it since that. I have that image in my head still of that.
Yeah. Well, that's how I feel about LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like Los Angeles. Okay,
Yeah.
well, thanks.
Yes.
Okay, so something about fun. What kind of movies do you like?
Well, let's see. I like comedies. I love comedy movies, and for me, the most important thing about a movie is, does it have good dialogue? Does it
Hmm.
have good writing? So I don't care about special effects and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Just doesn't interest me. And actually, normally I
Okay.
don't like big Hollywood movies.
Okay.
I think they're really terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of movies do you like?
I guess a lot of adventure, like the movie like Stargate and The Beach, and The Beach was not that good, but I like something which is so different, something which is about universe, something which is about rockets and
Oh.
stuff like that,
So you like movies that
and
require,
detective movies also.
and what?
Detective
Oh, detective
movies,
movies?
yeah,
So you like movies that require imagination.
exactly.
Now, since we're talking about movies, India has a very big movie
Yeah,
industry, Bollywood.
yeah,
Do you like the Bollywood movies?
great. It's
Yeah?
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess a lot of people in the whole world like it a lot.
yeah. Well, Bollywood, they always have so many people. Like, the thing
Yeah,
is, where
Bollywood
do they get
has
all those actors?
lumps of actors, so much drama, and I guess a lot of music and dancing, and it's just so different from Hollywood movies. So I guess for the reality case, I prefer Hollywood movies. And if you just want to have some fun, it would be Bollywood movies.
Hmm. Huh. So, how often do you watch Bollywood? How often do you watch English? Which do you watch more?
Whatever I get.
Whatever you get? Oh,
I
okay.
just love movies. I'm crazy behind movies.
You're addicted to movies?
Very much.
Okay. In the States, when you go to the movies, it's always Coke, popcorn, hot dog. When you go to
Okay.
movies in India, what's the food that you eat?
Okay, Coke is always there.
Right.
And yeah, something, whatever, like chips or potato chips or anything you get in your hands. Basically, I don't like getting disturbed when I'm watching a movie. I'm a person who likes watching a movie very quietly. That's why I don't like it watching with friends. I mean, I prefer going with a person who also likes watching a movie quietly. I mean, there are some people in the world, they sit for the movie and they like go, oh, this is gonna happen next and things like that. I just get so irritated. Let me watch it concentrately.
Right. I hate that.
I mean, I really want to do it quietly, peacefully, and just want to watch the movie, not talk to the person sitting behind me.
I totally agree. And I want to see the beginning and I want to see the end.
Exactly.
No interruptions.
Once I begin, I really want to go till the end.
Right.
I cannot stop it in the middle and say, oh.
Yeah. Which do you prefer, watching it at the cinema or on DVD at home?
At home.
At home? So nobody bothers you?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, same thing. Okay, thanks, Natia.
Okay. Can you actually talk a little bit about police in America? How much does the civilians trust them, or what beliefs you have about them?
Oh, that I guess would depend on where you live. I grew up in a pretty small town. I'm white, Caucasian, and I think that most Caucasian people trust the police pretty much 100%. They think that they're there to serve and protect. But unfortunately, minority groups, blacks or African Americans, and Hispanic people, Asian people, sometimes don't trust the police.
Okay. Why do you think they don't trust police sometimes?
Well, one is because the police probably don't treat them fairly. Often some minority groups live in poor areas. And in the poor areas there might be higher crime, and the police probably have more stress, and they're more defensive, and as a result maybe they behave poorly, or they don't treat certain minority groups equally. They're more suspicious, and as a result sometimes bad things happen.
So basically, most of the people do trust. It's like that.
I think most people trust the police. I think, understandably, especially African Americans don't trust the police because they think that the police are always nervous and edgy around them, and that maybe the police might use violence against them, or suspect that they're a criminal when they're just a good, ordinary citizen. And so they probably don't trust the police as much.
Okay, then there's one more thing I want to ask you about this police thing. So African Americans don't become police.
Oh no, it's quite often African Americans do become police. Yeah.
Okay. So you do have black people who are police.
Oh, of course, and we have every minority group. Usually, where you have distrust with the police is the major, larger cities.
Okay.
And it's a race thing that has to do with race, but it also is an income thing, where usually the lower income people often feel like they're not treated, fairly, I guess. I mean, what is it like in India? Do you have a complete trust of the police?
I guess no, but it depends exactly on the city. As you said, the smaller cities, I think the conditions are very bad. I don't think, and it's not that fast. I mean, like in America and all, you dial a number and their police is there in 2 minutes, but that's not the way in India. Crime finishes and then they appear. Yeah, it's like that.
So, Panesh, Jamaica is quite a small country, right?
It is.
What's the population? Not exactly, just more or less.
2.7 million.
Okay, that's pretty small. Do you have a problem with people leaving, like for university or to get better jobs going to other countries?
Yes, a lot of people leave, but I don't know if it's so much a problem, because Jamaicans have been migrating for decades now. A lot of people don't know that half of the Jamaican population actually lives outside of Jamaica.
Half?
Yes.
So that means there's like 5.4 million Jamaicans, and
Yes.
only half of them live in Jamaica.
Yes, possibly.
Where do they usually go?
Most Jamaicans that migrate go to America.
Because it's so close.
Yes. And because they have family members there, maybe. And other people go to Canada and the UK, for example.
Do you get a lot of immigration? Do you get many people moving to Jamaica to live from other places?
Recently, there's been an increase in that. People coming from other Caribbean islands,
Okay.
especially with the situation, the economic situation in Haiti these days. A lot of Haitians actually come over to Jamaica to find work and, you know, just for a better life, really.
Is it very close?
It is very close. It is quite close
How do they usually get to Jamaica?
by boat,
So
which is quite dangerous, but
yeah, you hear a lot in history in the last couple of decades of boat people, right? But you don't often hear about Haitian boat people. Usually people getting in boats and trying to get to the States, right?
yes. But I guess Jamaica's closer, so they go for Jamaica.
Yeah. What kind of jobs do people go for when they get to Jamaica?
Well, a lot of them end up working in bars and restaurants, and yeah, just jobs like that.
I guess there's a lot of tourists in Jamaica,
There are quite a lot of tourists.
so there must be a lot of jobs in the tourism industry.
Yes, always.
Hey, Marion, I like your outfit. Nice jeans and t-shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Where'd you get it?
Actually, my t-shirt is a hand-me-down from a friend of mine who was leaving, so she gave me some of her clothes.
Oh, really?
That's what I'm wearing.
Okay. That's cool. Like, if I know the person that wore the shirt before, I'll wear it.
Yeah.
But I will never go to a secondhand clothing store or a used clothing store. I think that is
Really?
disgusting.
Why?
Well, I mean, if you don't know who wore it before.
But they're washed, Todd. You know?
Yeah, but okay, first of all, what if the person that wore it was just the type of person that you really hated? There was something about the person you just really didn't like. And then now you're wearing that person's clothes. Doesn't that disgust you?
No, do you think a person's personality rubs off on their clothes
No, but
and then it survives the wash cycle in your washing machine?
okay, right. I see what you're saying. But I'll put it to you this way. Imagine that you work with somebody.
Yes.
Okay, so at your job, is there somebody that you don't like?
Yes.
Okay, now imagine that there's a clothing bin and people can put clothes in there, and you see a shirt and you like it, and you're just about to take it, and then someone says, that's that person's shirt. Would you still take it?
I probably wouldn't.
Right, see?
But yeah, only because I wouldn't want to feel like that person had done me a favor in some way.
Right.
I wouldn't like to be beholden to that person if I don't like them.
Right, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's good to have secondhand clothes if people don't have anything or, for
Well,
charity and things like
Yeah,
that.
well actually, when I was in college, I didn't have very much money, so the only clothes I could buy were second-hand clothes. So I actually really got to like going around the charity shops and finding clothes that I really liked So nothing that was following the trends of the moment, but in college that really doesn't matter. I think
Right.
it's better to wear something you feel comfortable in, and I think there's a real sense of achievement when you find something that you've wanted for God knows how long. For example, I found a brown suede jacket one time in a charity shop, and I thought, oh my God, this is exactly the type of suede jacket that I have been longing for, but I could never afford that jacket at full price. Even at half price in a normal shop, I could never have had it. So actually, most of my wardrobe at home is secondhand clothes, I would say. And I love it. I will go to a secondhand clothes shop before a normal clothes shop any day. It's so much more fun.
Well, that's very interesting. You have fun shopping at those stores, and
I will. Hey Todd, you're exactly the person I was looking for.
yeah,
I have a favor to ask you.
sure.
Well, the thing is, I'm thinking about buying a computer, okay? But I don't know too much about computers, you know that. So I want to know which is better, a laptop or a desktop? Which do you think I should buy?
That's a good question. Well, I'm not a computer pro, but I guess if you get a desktop computer for your house, there's a lot of advantages. It's has more memory.
Right.
It has more power. You can get a bigger monitor for watching movies and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think the number one reason that I like the desktop is it doesn't break, and it can't be stolen.
As easily, yeah, sure.
Right. So when you have the laptop, you take it and you carry it everywhere, but that means it's easier to break. You can drop it.
Yeah.
Or it's easier to be stolen. So, on the other hand, though, if you just want to be mobile with your computer, then obviously you want a laptop because you can take it everywhere and you could use it in different places. So that's why actually I have two. I have a desktop and a laptop.
So you have the best of both worlds, really.
So what do you want to use your computer for?
Well, mainly I want to use it to keep in touch with my family and my friends. That's my number one reason. I'd also like to use it for work, to make worksheets and that kind of thing for school. And the other thing, what was the other thing? Oh yes, I want to use it to store my photos from my digital camera. That's really important to me because I'm afraid I'm going to lose one of the CDs and all of those photos or something like that.
Well, how often do you think you'll be taking a computer with you to work or somewhere?
I don't know really. I mean, I suppose I could just buy a laptop and leave it at home, couldn't I?
Sure. Yeah, I guess if you're just going to use it for basic stuff, then maybe, I don't know, a laptop's good for you.
Yeah, maybe. It's so confusing. It's such a big decision for me. I don't know what to do. Thanks, though, for your advice.
Sure. Hey, Marion, I was reading in the newspaper the other day that the economy in Ireland is doing really good.
Yeah, it has been doing really well now for quite a while, for a number of years. We call it the Celtic tiger phenomenon. Yeah.
That's cute. The Celtic tiger, in reference to the Asian tiger, which used to be the growing Asian economies.
Yeah, exactly. So Ireland kind of has that place in Europe at the moment. It has had, like I say, for quite a few years now.
Like what industries are going really well in Ireland, or what's making this happen?
Above all, the computer industry.
Yeah,
I mean, we have lots of computer companies, companies making those computer chips.
Right.
I think actually I read somewhere that Ireland is the number one producing country of either those computer chips or some other element of a computer. Because I was very surprised and shocked that my small country could be number one in that arena. So we also have quite a number of people who moved to Ireland from other places in Europe. So we have a lot of speakers of different languages in Ireland. and that has been used to set up call centers. So, for example, if you buy a mobile phone in Italy and something goes wrong with your mobile phone, you ring up a help desk and say, "Oh, sorry, my phone is broken, could you help me?" And the person who responds to you will probably be sitting in a call center in Ireland.
Oh, that's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
there are so many of them in Ireland. Actually, I've worked for 3 of them at different stages in my life. So we have ones for computer companies, for mobile phone companies, and what else? For some insurance companies, actually, and banks. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Actually, I read that one of the reasons for the turnaround is the good university system or the education system in Ireland is quite top notch.
Yeah, well, I mean, education has been very important all the way along in Ireland because of the fact that Irish people weren't allowed to have an education under British rule. Then once we got independence, all along people were fighting to have education for their children, and children used to be taught in hedge schools. So the teachers were in at the side of a field, basically teaching kids. And
Right.
then if the policeman came or something, everybody would scatter, and they didn't have any like resources or anything. So in the minds of Irish people, I think education has a very special place. And it is true that the university system is very well thought of and very well recognized throughout the rest of Europe, I think.
All right, well, sounds good. Thanks, Marion. So, Marion, for people that go to Ireland, what's one place they really should visit?
Well, one of my favorite spots is called the Cliffs of Moher.
Cliffs of Moher?
Yeah, and that's on the west coast of Ireland. It's quite near Galway, so it's a little bit to the south of Galway, I think.
Okay, so it's near Galway.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a city on the west coast of Ireland.
What is this place, the Cliffs of Moher?
The Cliffs of Moher are, as far as I know, they're the tallest cliffs in Europe.
Really? The tallest?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Definitely the tallest cliffs in Ireland, but I'm quite sure that we have that distinction, that they're actually the tallest cliffs in the whole of Europe.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So, when you go to these cliffs, what can you do? Can you climb down them? Or?
No, you can't.
What?
I think if you tried, you might end up in the water and you may never get up again to
Serious?
see from the top of the cliffs. Yeah, it's quite scary. When I went there for the first time, I was quite young, and I went with my mother and brother and uncle. And I remember my mother was holding my hand, and my brother, who is younger than me, was of course more brave than I was. So he was going right up to the edge and looking over and leaning out over, and I was really, really scared because at that time there was no barrier to keep you from falling in. So yeah, really, really scary.
I bet. So, when you go to the Cliffs of Moher, is it really windy? Does it rain a lot?
Yeah, it's quite windy because you're right on the edge of Europe. Basically, you're facing the Atlantic Ocean, which can get quite quite turbulent there. So you can see the waves crashing up against the cliffs. That's if you lean over, of course. There is a flat area of rock where many tourists kind of lie on their stomachs and inch their way up to the edge, and then they look over. But I was too scared when I went. I couldn't do it. I thought for sure I'd fall over and die.
Wow. So, assuming that somebody goes to Ireland and they go to Dublin, they fly into Dublin, how would they get to the Cliffs of Moher?
Pretty easily, actually. From Dublin, you have the choice of going either by train directly across to Galway. Then from Galway, you would need to take a bus. So you could go from Dublin to Galway by bus as well, but the train is probably more comfortable. And then it would be a short-ish bus ride to the cliffs of Moher. But obviously in Ireland, your best bet is really to hire a car if you can.
Okay. Well, sounds like a good place to go. Thanks, Marion.
No problem.
So, hello, Terry.
Hello.
Now, Terry, Terry, you do bicycle trips in America, and you take long trips. Can you talk about the last bicycle trip you did?
Okay. The last trip that I did in the summer, I started in Vancouver, British Columbia, and rode down the west coast to San Diego. Took about 6 weeks to do that.
Wow. So you started in Vancouver, and you went all the way down to San Diego.
Right.
How far is that? How many miles?
Depending on the route that you take, it's about 1,800 miles, give or take.
Man. So do you train before you do this?
Actually, no. For this particular trip, I didn't do any training. I just started out in once I took the bus from Salt Lake City up to Vancouver and got to the bus station in Vancouver, put my bicycle together, put the gear on the bicycle, and the first day I only rode about 25 miles, and then I slowly increased them. So I guess it's kind of training as you go.
Man, that's incredible. Now, is this the first bicycle trip you've ever done?
No, actually, I've done 5. I've probably done 4 or 5 long trips in the United States.
Man, do you always go along the West Coast?
No. I've originally my first long trip was with a nonprofit organization out of the United States, Adventure Cycling, and we cycled the Trans-America Trail, as it's known. It goes from Yorktown, Virginia, to Astoria, Oregon. That was a 3-month self-contained camping trip with a group of about 13 people.
Wow, and you rode all the way from Virginia on the East Coast to Oregon on the West Coast.
Right.
And how many miles was that?
It's about 4,300 miles.
Oh, that's a long way.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. One day at a time.
Wow, that's cool. All right, well, thanks. We'll talk more about your bicycle trip, but thanks,
Okay.
Terry.
Sure.
Okay, so here we go. Now, Terry, earlier you were saying that you went from Vancouver to San Diego. How many days did that take?
The total trip took 42 days, but that included 1 day on the bus up and then 1 day on the bus back. So 40 days on the road, of which 36 days were riding days and 4 days off.
That is so cool. So first you have your bike already in your hometown, and you put your bike on the bus, and you took the bus to Vancouver.
Right. Yeah, you have to put your bike in a bicycle box, as it's known, and it requires a little disassembling of the bicycle, but it's not difficult.
Oh, so you actually take the bike apart, put it in a box, and then put it...
Yeah, for shipping it on a bus or an airplane, they're both the same. You have to put it in a bike box.
So are you really good at bicycle maintenance?
No. I would say that's one of my shortcomings. I certainly do some bicycle maintenance. Whenever you're on a long bicycle trip, by design, you have to take care of your bike. I mean, that's your transportation. You're carrying everything you have with you, and so you need to take care of your bicycle. You can stop in bicycle shops along the way and have them do any major repairs, but on a day-to-day basis, you need to maintain your bicycle.
Okay. So when you are taking your trip, what tools do you need to take with you to take care of your bicycle?
Oh, just some basic Allen wrenches and screwdrivers and Oh, and obviously a repair kit for patching a tube or some extra inner tubes. I usually just take along extra inner tubes, and you need tools to take your tire off, and things like that.
Wow, so you just take the tubes with you, huh? How many inner tubes do you take?
Oh, I usually take 2 or 3 extras. I'm not real keen on patching flats. I usually just take the tube out and throw it away and put in a new one.
So on your last bike trip, did you have any problems with your bike? Did it break down at all?
No, no real problems.
Oh, cool. All right, thanks, Terry. Okay, Terry, now when you take your bike trips, when you bicycle across America or down the West Coast, um, what is a typical day? Like, how would you start your day, and how would you finish your day on the bicycle?
Well, a typical day, I'm camping usually. So I usually get up at or near sunrise. Sometimes I get up slightly before sunrise, and I have to pack up all of my camping gear, stuff the sleeping bag in a stuffed sack, and roll up my air mattress, pack up the tent, and then eat breakfast, and then I usually try and do the daily essentials, and then hit the road. I'm usually try to be on the road somewhere around 7:30 in the morning, depending on when the sun comes up. But I like to go cycling early in the morning because it's cooler and there's um, you tend to see more wildlife, and I just think it's a nicer time of day, especially when you're riding in the summer. It tends to get warmer as the day goes on. So, and then I usually try and find a campground sometime in the afternoon, and then the process starts again, setting up camp, setting up my tent and whatnot. And during the day, I'm usually actually cycling for 5 to 6 hours a day, and then taking 2 or 3 hours off various breaks and eating lunch and whatnot. And then usually in the afternoon, I stop and buy some food that I can cook, so I can cook dinner in camp and have breakfast the next morning.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, you just pay for everything with a credit card, or you bring cash, or?
Oh, both. Especially in the United States, with debit cards, you can get cash back when you're buying food at a grocery store. So it's always nice to have cash to pay for incidentals.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting. You were saying that you see wildlife. What wildlife would you see?
Oh, on this trip, as an example, elk and deer and raccoons and possums and turtles and snakes and all kinds of wildlife.
Have you ever almost hit an animal?
I have. I don't think I've ever come close to hitting an animal. No.
Well, speaking of being hit, have you had any close calls with cars?
Um, well, that's kind of, I think, goes with the territory, so to speak. I've never come close to getting hit, but I certainly feel like on occasion I've had vehicles come closer to me than I wanted them to come close. And the kind of the real bugaboo for cyclists is logging trucks, and back east, coal trucks. They can be really terrifying when they're going by and you're cycling down the road.
I bet. Wow. Okay, thanks, Terry. So now, Terry, when you finish your bicycle ride at the end of the day, you go to a campground. So what do you do? I mean, you set up camp, and how do you take a shower or brush your teeth or?
Oh, as an example, on this trip, I was staying mostly in state parks in Washington, Oregon, and California. Um, Almost all of the state parks that I stayed in had showers. Um, so, of course, they have restrooms and all your basic facilities as far as that goes. And as far as what I do, what we do in camp, or what I do in camp is, I usually pick up a newspaper during the day, and I usually carry a novel with me. So part of what I do in the afternoon is just to relax and read the paper, read a book, and then also in the afternoon I work on my bike if I need to. Just try and get ready for the next day, or unwind from that day.
What time do you normally make dinner?
Just depends on usually 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. When I'm on the road, I tend to be the proverbial early to bed, early to rise.
Sure. Well, what things do you cook? Because you probably don't want to carry a lot of food. Like, what would be a typical meal that you would have?
You're absolutely right. You don't really want to carry a lot of excess food because you're carrying a lot of weight anyways. When I'm on the road, my bike probably weighs 45 kilos. That's a fair amount of weight to push up over a mountain range. Cook pasta for dinner or some soup or something fairly simple. In groups, you tend to buy more elaborate food. Buy salad material and whatnot.
Now, what do you actually prefer, doing the bicycle trip alone or in a group?
Well, they both have their good points. I think the main thing was just that it just depends on if you're interested in doing a trip when a trip is available. In this case, there was a trip that was available going down the West Coast, but it was in the month of September, and I had to return to Japan, so the timing just didn't work out for me. And then I think lately the doing these trips solo is working out for me because I'm not training for the trips. Typically, when you're going with a group, you have to be in shape when the trips start so that you can keep up with the group. So this is working out for me to do solo trips.
Oh, so you prefer the solo?
Well, it kind of depends.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Terry. Thanks a lot for talking about your trips.
Thanks. I enjoyed it a lot.
Now, Terry, when you bicycle on these long trips across America, what do you do on a really bad day when it's foggy or rainy or windy? Do you just keep on pedaling?
Usually, yes. The philosophy kind of goes that if you're going to take a day off, and you need to take a day off every 8 days or once a week, whatever, just to give your body a chance to recover and recuperate. If you want to take a day off, you want to enjoy the day. So ideally, you want a day off when the sun's shining. So if you wake up in the morning and you're scheduled to ride that day and it's raining, you just pack up and you ride in the rain. As far as the fog goes, the main thing I try and be aware of is increasing my visibility, just to make sure that the drivers have a chance to see me. So I have pannier covers that are a high visibility yellow, and I tend to wear a high visibility yellow jersey and put a strobe on the back of my light. Anything I can do to increase my visibility.
Man, okay. Are there any other problems that you face when you're traveling? Like, do you get sick or do you get fatigued or things like that?
Oh, sure. I definitely get fatigued on trips, and yeah, you sometimes you don't feel well or whatever, but it's part of the trip, I guess, is just pushing on. And I think, for me, part of it's just I'm fairly competitive anyway, and it's a challenge to try and do a trip like that. And unless you're really ill or you've had an accident or something, most days you can persevere and struggle through. Fortunately, most days are enjoyable. I mean, that doesn't happen that often. But and as far as riding in the rain, some trips you have rain and some you don't. Amazingly, on this trip I had no rain. So this is the first trip I've ever done in my life with no rainy days. Had a lot of fog, but no rain.
Oh, wow, that's great. Okay, well, thanks, Terry.
Thanks.
So, Marion, what countries have you lived in?
I've lived in Italy, France, Australia, and now Japan.
Wow,
And Ireland, of course. Sorry.
Wow, you lived in Italy, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long did you live in Italy for?
For 2 separate periods, so a year each. So in total, about 2 years, almost 2 years.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So, why did you go to Italy? What were you there for?
I went there to study Italian, and the first time I studied Italian and French. And then the second time I went back after graduating to study more Italian.
That's pretty cool.
It was
Wow.
interesting, yeah.
So were your classes tough? Was it a tough study program?
They were very interesting, and the first time I went, my Italian wasn't so good. I'd only studied for 2 years before I went the first time. So even though my Italian improved enormously over that first year. In the beginning, it was quite difficult. I had one professor, for example, who would constantly say to me in class in Italian, "Are you following? Are you following?" So it was a bit intimidating.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I could do that with my students.
No, it was really awful. He was really singling me out. And so all the other people in the class used to turn their heads around and look at this strange foreigner in their class who maybe could understand or maybe didn't. But I just felt very nervous and a bit awkward there because I was just waiting for him to pounce on me with his mi segue, mi segue. It's terrible.
Mi segues, are you following?
Are you following me? Literally, yeah. Basically, do you understand?
Oh, okay. What was life like in Italy at university? How is it different than, say, university in Ireland?
Well, my university in Ireland is on one big campus. I think that's maybe the way in America as well. In Italy, though, the buildings of the university are spread all over the city. So you'll have, for example, the language and literature faculty, where I was, in one part of the town, and then maybe 10 or 20 minutes away by bus, you might have the faculty of education, where I had to go for some lectures as well. So that was very different for me to have everything so spread out. Also, the buildings were so old. You know, in Italy, there were really old traditional buildings, so they were beautiful, really beautiful. You walk into the faculty building and there's a huge courtyard and beautiful architecture all around you. It was absolutely amazing. You felt like you were a little part of history inside, you know. So, yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, sounds cool.
Yeah, it was great. One of the best years of my life.
Al, you are a big movie fan?
Yes, I am.
So, as a big movie fan, what do you think about all the amazing technological special effects that they're doing now?
I think it's going to lead to a point where we don't need actors anymore.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I mean, how could they do that, though?
You'll be able to completely create a believable character. You can already create a believable character on a computer and give it life and emotion, and he won't be asking for £10 million a movie.
Ooh.
He'll be free to create, and he'll do exactly what you say, and he'll come to the set on time. He won't need to come to the set, will he? He won't turn up on the set drunk, is what I mean. He'll be just completely at your mercy to do whatever you want with.
So you're saying in the future they'll just write a story, and then just like animation, they'll just design the character, and then have the movie with the backdrop and everything.
Yeah, actors will only be important for reference. Directors will go back and look at great performances and copy them, or copy nuance in a performance for their computer-generated character. You'll need voice actors for a while, and then computers will be able to create the human voice, recreate the human voice too.
Well, are there any examples of movies where this is actually happening now?
You look at Yoda in Star Wars Episode 3. Yoda's completely believable.
And that's all computer graphics. It's not a puppet.
I think he's a puppet. I think in this one he was completely computer animated. He was a puppet for some of Episode 2 and 1, I think.
Man, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and scary. Humans will be unnecessary soon.
So Al, we're going to talk about water. How much water do you drink every day?
I guess about 3 liters, so 6 of those 500 milliliter, 5 or 6 of those 500 milliliter bottles.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's about what I drink. Yeah, actually, I think I'm addicted to water.
I definitely am.
Yeah, it's my security blanket. I must always have a bottle of water nearby to drink.
And you have a theory too about why I always feel like I get thirstier the more water I drink, and you have a theory about that, don't you?
Yeah, that's right. I think that the water bottle people somehow put a special chemical that makes you want to always drink more water.
I
Yeah, because haven't you noticed that if you drink water from a tap, from the sink, you have a glass of water, you're not thirsty after you finish the glass. But when you finish a bottle of water, you're still thirsty.
One bottle's not enough. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
A glass of tap water, I would rarely finish the glass. But a bottle of bottled water, I need more. And like you said, I need to know there is more close to me,
Right.
or I get upset.
Well, do you still drink tap water?
No, never.
Never?
No, I cook with it, but I don't drink it.
Why?
It tastes crap.
Yeah. That's true. It does taste pretty bad. Yeah. Well, we both live in Japan. How's the water in England?
It's about the same. It's kind of it's drinkable in theory, but it has this weird processed taste to it, and it doesn't smell all that good. So it's supposed to be safe to drink, but I don't believe that for a minute.
Yeah. Actually, the water where I'm from in Northern California is pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah. That's still one thing that you can drink from the tap, but people still drink bottled water. Yeah. Actually, I think the next time there's a huge, massive world war, it might be over water. You know?
Yes.
It's kind of scary.
It's like we live on this planet that's mostly water, and we can't manage it properly. So there's enough for everybody.
Yeah, no kidding. So anyway, for all of you people out there, remember, be thankful for your water. So Al, you mentioned that you quit smoking.
Yes, I did.
Now, I also heard that you quit drinking.
I did. Almost about 1 week after I quit smoking, I quit drinking too.
Wow. No more, no beer, no wine with dinner?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Never?
Nothing, never.
Have you even had a little bit since you quit?
No, I can't have a little bit. It's all or nothing for me. So
Wow.
yeah, no, nothing at all.
That's pretty tough to do. Well, I mean, you seem pretty happy. I mean, you're
very
glad.
happy.
Okay. So why did you stop drinking? Why do you think it's better not to drink any alcohol?
I'm not against drinking the way I am against smoking. I knew that for me it was the best thing to do because drinking was getting in the way of other things I wanted to do with my life.
Right.
So, and I drank a lot and I didn't enjoy it anymore.
Yeah.
And that was the thing.
Actually, I have to feel a little bit the same way. I'm a social drinker. I only drink when I'm with friends. And I really don't like drinking because I don't like how it makes me feel afterwards. Like if I have a glass of wine or a beer, I can't work afterwards, and that bothers me. But it's nice to have a glass of wine with a good meal.
It is, yes. There are things I miss about it, but there are so many other good things that I've got from not drinking. So I look at the balance and the sacrifice, and for me it's worth it not to drink. I can give up the glass of wine with dinner if I get the other things that I've got from it. So.
Well, do you feel healthier? Does your body feel better?
I feel much healthier. I feel much more focused. My thinking is much clearer. And I still go to bars and I hang out with people, and they drink and I don't, and I go home. I love leaving a bar and I'm sober. I love that feeling. I don't know why. It's a fantastic feeling. So.
Well, sounds like something maybe I should consider. Thanks, Al. So, Al, I must congratulate you. I hear you no longer smoke.
That's true. I'm now 6 months ago I stopped smoking.
Good man. So how did you do it?
I went out and I had the best New Year's Eve I've ever had in my life, where I went to an all-night New Year's Eve party at a club, and I smoked and drank as much as I wanted for about 12 hours. I finally left at 9 in the morning on New Year's Day with my lungs dry and hot, and then decided I'm never going to do this again and stopped.
Wow. I
like that.
mean, you must have had, addictions. You must have wanted to have a cigarette a couple days later.
I've stopped smoking several times and had very bad cravings before, and this time it was a couple of times I felt like I might like one, but no, I didn't have any severe nicotine cravings.
Mm.
I was ready this time, I think.
So you think your body just reaches a point where you can take no more?
Yeah, definitely. And your mind reaches a point where you're sickened by your own disgusting behavior.
Right.
So,
So what do you think about smoking now?
I hate it. I'm totally anti-smoking, and I used to be very liberal about people's rights to smoke, and now I think it should be completely banned. It should be illegal to buy tobacco.
Wow, they should just make it illegal.
Make it illegal. It kills people.
So what's your message to smokers? If someone out there is smoking today, they're a smoker, they want to quit, what's your message to them?
I'm reading a really cool book at the moment about therapy, and in one of these stories in this book, one guy says, imagine you have a pet dog, and you love this pet dog, and the pet dog is your body. Now, would you give poisoned... You went to the pet store and you saw these cans of dog food with a poison mark on them, poison flavored dog food containing poison. Would you buy that poison dog food and feed it to your dog? No, you wouldn't. That's exactly what you're doing to your body when you smoke. You're deliberately poisoning yourself, so stop it.
Well, good message. And so for all of you people out there that are smoking, stop. So, Rena, you were saying that Lebanon or Beirut has really good nightclubs.
Mm-hmm.
What's a really cool nightclub in Beirut?
My favorite nightclub was rated 5th in Maxim magazine, and it's called BO18. And what it used to be was a Palestinian burial ground. And
Wait a minute.
yeah.
There's no longer dead people there, right?
No.
Okay.
No, it used to be.
Okay.
And just during the Civil War.
Oh, okay.
Because there was a 17-year war. And what it is, you walk up and you don't see anything. It's just this big open space. But you see these almost like subway stairs going down. And you go down these stairs, and the theme inside this place is death. And it's like a big coffin. So you have like red velvet walls, and all the tables are little coffins with Palestinian soldier pictures on it, and a single rose. And it's just a really neat club. I went to a lot of themed clubs too. I went to one that was called the Music Hall, and it was like a big theater, and it was just amazing.
So, what's the music hall like?
Well, they had that night I went. They had 5 different groups: one American group, one Spanish, one Lebanese, and they all just it's like a theater, like scene 1, scene 2, and each scene would be a different music genre,
That's pretty cool.
Arabic. Yeah, it was cool.
So, at these nightclubs, how do people dress? What's the fashion at these nightclubs?
Lebanese girls and people that were it was majority Lebanese girls, they're very trend conscious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if it's in a magazine, they're wearing it type thing, and they look down on anybody that doesn't.
Oh,
Me.
so.
Yeah, and it's all done up, went to the salon that day to go out sort of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
So we're talking like the skimpy dresses that they have?
everything. Oh yeah.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
Well, what are the guys dressed like?
The guys they dress prettier than some of the girls.
No kidding.
Yeah, the guys dress really well, but very, just as I said, very trend conscious. Everybody's very image conscious. It's really a lot like Japan in that way.
Mm. Oh, cool. Thanks.
Mhm.
Now, Michael, I think you grew up in California, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
I thought you were from Santa Barbara.
No, I was born in Cincinnati. and I grew up there, and then lived for my teenage years in Michigan. So
No
I'm
kidding.
a Midwesterner.
Well, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
thought you were a fellow California native like me.
No, I've been here about 10 years, but not native to this state. No,
Wow. So what, you lived in Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio,
Cincinnati, Ohio,
in Michigan.
and in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, you went to the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I graduated from University of Michigan.
That's a good school.
It's a great school. Yeah, it's huge though. I think, that's one thing when you come out of high school and you go into this huge university. It's such a different environment.
Right.
Like I remember the first year I was pretty lost
Yeah,
in
yeah.
how big everything was.
Now, Michael, a lot of people don't know about American football, but at your university, the University of Michigan, football is huge. Can you describe a typical Saturday football game? Like what happens at the stadium? What do students do?
Well, yeah, the stadium at Ann Arbor for University of Michigan, I think it holds 102,000 people, something like that.
Wow.
I mean, it's one of the biggest in the country,
That's mammoth.
and every game is sold out.
Wow.
It's an incredible event. So yeah, all Saturdays are very much a buzz with excitement for the home games,
Mm.
and it's just a very big deal. The whole Michigan football program just generates a lot of excitement, generates a lot of money.
Right.
And to tell the truth though, back when I went to Michigan,
Yeah.
I wasn't a big football fan.
Oh, you weren't?
I actually never went to a home
No,
football
really?
game.
No.
People ask me that, they can't believe it because
No way.
it's such a big deal.
Yeah.
But I was more of like I don't know what you call it, kind of hippie style student
Yeah.
at the time, and we kind of distinguished between the jocks,
Right.
people who are interested in sports, and the people who are interested in what, culture or something like that.
Yeah.
So at that time I wasn't into the football. I think now if I went back, I would love to see a football game.
Yeah. That's interesting, man.
But the Wolverines, the Michigan Wolverines, and big source of pride for University of Michigan.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that.
Sure.
Now, Michael, you were in the Peace Corps?
Peace Corps, yeah.
Can you explain what the Peace Corps is and what you did?
Well, it's an organization, a U.S. government organization that sends young people, for the most part, college graduates, to different countries to work as volunteers in either construction or education. I was in education. I was a high school teacher.
Where did you go? What country?
I was in Togo. It's
Togo.
a little country
Yeah.
between Ghana and Dahomey at the time, Benin, Nigeria, West
Wow.
Africa.
West Africa, yeah.
And I was a high school teacher. I was an education major at the University of Michigan and trained as a high school teacher there, but I had to get a complete different training of skills to work in West African high schools. I mean, for one thing, the classes were huge, like 100 students in a class. And we didn't have textbooks. We just had a blackboard in front of the class, and students had notebooks. So you had to really manage the class so that students always had something to write down or practice from their notebooks. And I had like 4 or 5 classes like that every day. And it was a very grueling job, but very, very exciting work. I mean, I loved it. I just loved it. It was the best thing a college grad could do, in my opinion.
What type of experiences do you remember about living in Togo?
Living in Togo. Well, I was a foreigner, right?
Yeah.
I was white. I am white, and everybody was African, black. So there was this feeling of always being an outsider. And
Right.
Occasionally, not occasionally, often, kids would make fun of you for being different. And,
Yeah.
so it's kind of hard to get used to that. But that was one thing I remember. I mean, I remember the beauty of it all and how, in the tropical area, how things grow.
Right.
Like it would rain almost every day, and then when the rain stopped and the sun came out, You just could literally see flowers growing, plants blossoming. That's one thing I really remember.
Oh man, must have been really, really beautiful.
It is.
Have you ever gone back?
I was just thinking about that the other day, that why. No, I haven't gone back. I haven't gone back. I would love to. If I have the opportunity, I will. Or I have to make the opportunity to go back.
Mm.
It's a very volatile country, though.
Sure.
It's not an easy country to go to just as a visitor. I think you need to have something to do there.
Right.
Like I did. I had a regular routine and place to live. I don't think I'd want to go there as a tourist.
Right.
But I'd love to go back if I have an invitation to do something again.
Mm. All right. Thanks, Mike.
Sure.
Michael, this is a beautiful home.
Yeah, we've lived here for about 12 years, and it's too big for us now.
Really? It's pretty big.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's got 4 bedrooms, and it's got this big living room area and dining room area. And I've got 2 kids, and both of them are in college now, so they don't live here anymore.
Oh.
And so my wife and I are thinking about, moving to a smaller house.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, so where are you going to move?
Well, this area is called Walnut Creek. It's in the East Bay of San Francisco, and we want to move into an area that's in the Berkeley Hills. It's called Orinda.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Oh, it's very nice. I mean, it's a little more inconvenient. It's not as convenient as here, but it's a little more. There's more privacy,
right?
And there's more nature. More like old established trees and hills, and a little quieter. And so all those things appeal to us. So we're looking. It's not easy to find the right place, but actually today we're going to meet a realtor, and we're going to be looking at some houses that are available and see if we like any of them.
Actually, I've been thinking about getting a house. I'm kind of getting up there in age. What is the process of buying a house? Like, how do you go about it?
Well, the first step to find a place is generally you have to work with a realtor, somebody who has access to homes that are for sale. And then you sort of look through the listings and you find ones that you like, that you can afford, and then you visit with the realtor. And say you find a house that you like. Like there is one that we're going to visit today that we think we like, and we're going to check it out again. After we visit, we make an offer sheet. We draw an offer sheet that says how much we're willing to pay for the house. And the owner looks over the offer sheet. They never meet us directly. They meet only through the realtor. The realtors talk to each other. The buyer and the seller never actually talk to each other directly. And in this case, the house is going to have multiple offers. Many people will want this house.
Okay.
So they're not going to look at the offers until next week. And say 5 or 10 people bid on it, they're probably going to take the person who offers the most money for it.
Ooh.
So it's competitive.
That is a tough situation.
Yeah, so sometimes you'll find a house that you love and you can afford, but somebody outbids you. Somebody bids more for the house than you do, and you lose it. And then you have to keep looking. So it can take weeks or months.
Oh, wow. Well,
to find the house you want.
Sounds tough. Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Nitya, in the U.S. we have many different parts of the country and people are very different. What about India? Are the people very different in different regions?
Yeah, there's one difference I think that in India, different parts, they have totally different languages. Sometimes it's a problem because somebody who comes for traveling or something in northern part of India from south, it's really difficult for them to manage with the language because though our national language is Hindi and also the constitutional national language is English, But still, I mean, India is really huge. People coming from south. There are some people like who do understand Hindi to some extent, but there are many people who don't understand at all.
Really?
Yeah,
They don't speak Hindi.
yeah, because we have 33 national languages.
Wow.
So
You have 33.
33, and if you take on the whole, it's around 345 or something.
Man, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I think every child from India should be able to speak around 2 to 3 languages, basically.
What are the most common languages that people speak in India?
I think Hindi, Gujarati, Punjabi. I think I cannot say common. Every state, we have 27 states in India. Every state has its own language, our general language.
27 different general languages.
Yeah.
That's what divides the country, is the languages.
No, it's divided by the states. I
Mhm.
mean, different states we call different parts of it, and also by the language. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. So you
Yeah.
said Punjabi?
Punjabi, Gujarati, Tamil, Malayalam, and
Wow.
they're huge. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. How many
Yeah.
languages do you speak?
6.
6?
Yeah.
What do you speak?
Okay, I can speak Hindi. I can speak Punjabi little bit, and I can understand the whole of it almost. And I can speak Tamil. I can speak Malayalam because Malayalam is my mother's language.
Uh-huh.
She's from southern part of India. My dad is from north part of India, and I speak Hindi. I understand Telugu, and I guess Marathi also a little bit.
Wow, and that's not even including English and Japanese.
Yeah, okay, then you include English and Japanese in that.
That's amazing. Okay, well, thanks, Nitya. Nitya, now in India, the Ganges River is very
Yeah.
famous. Why is the river so famous in India?
I guess first reason because Ganges River origins from Himalayas, and it's considered very pure because it's basically by the melting of the ice from Himalayas, and it's the whole 12 months and 24 hours flowing river. I mean, it's there's no time in the whole year that it dries up and people say, okay, Ganges River dries up. It's like throughout the year the river is there and water is there, water level is maintained, and it's considered holy because of the religious reasons, I guess, because they say in Himalaya there was Shiva there, and this Ganges River origins from his head.
Oh, I
So
see.
yeah, so this is
And Shiva is a very famous god
yeah, exactly.
in Hinduism.
Yeah, religion, yeah.
So you said that the river comes from glaciers or from ice from the
Yeah,
Himalayas. So is the river super clean?
Super clean, I guess, when it starts from there, but by the time it reaches the lands, I don't think it's super clean.
Does the river have a problem with pollution?
I guess so.
Is it?
Because it's usually like all the cities which are at the bank of these rivers. I guess this problem is in all over India, not only with Ganges River, because there's no infrastructure about this cleaning of environment so much, still not very in action. There are so many schemes from the government, but the actions are not taken.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's the same everywhere in the world.
Yeah, but it's a little too much with India because first thing, there is still a lot of standard problems which are to be solved in India rather than these things. There are people still dying out of hunger. So country which has still people who don't get one meal a day, I think they got to look at that first and then look at anything else. So people have very different way of opinions on these issues.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, just recently in America with the hurricane that we had,
Yeah.
it was the same thing. It was very
Yeah.
eye-opening about
Exactly.
many people that are in poverty.
Exactly.
Now, back to the river. People bathe in the river. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Now, is it
Because
holy
they-
or is it just
yeah,
a routine
it's-
thing? Hello, Nitya.
Hi.
How are you today?
Great.
Now, Nitya, can you talk a little bit about where are you from?
Okay, I'm from India, northern part of India, and from a very small city, but the oldest one in India. It's considered a very religious and holy city, has a lot of temples and mosques and different things. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. What is your city's name?
Varanasi.
Varanasi?
Yeah.
And how do you spell Varanasi in English?
Varanasi.
Wow, that's a cool name, Varanasi. And it's the oldest city in...
Oldest city in India.
Wow. Now you said it's a holy city.
Yeah.
What kind of holy city? For what religion?
Because that's the greatest part of it, that it has all the religions buildings there, like mosque for Muslims, and it has temples, and it has Jain temples, different kind of, and Buddhist temples.
Wow.
It has a place where Buddha gave his first lecture in the world.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it's called Sarnath. You ask any Buddhist people, they know about it.
Sarnath.
Yeah, Buddha gave his first lecture sitting under a tree, and the tree has been preserved there from ages.
Man.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, are you Buddhist?
No.
What religion are you?
I'm Hindu.
Hindu. Okay. And there's Hindu temples naturally.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the difference between, say, a Buddhist temple in architecture and a Hindu temple? Do they look the same?
Not exactly, because Buddhist temple, okay, it has Buddha basically, right? But
Right.
Hindu temples have like 33,000 gods. So you go in different temples and you find different different sculpture sitting there. So it's just...
Are there really 33,000 gods
There
in
are
Hindu?
really 33,000 gods. But I think I know maybe not even 50 of them.
Oh, really?
But come on, basically it's just God.
Right,
You
right.
just see them in different forms. That's it. So
Okay. Well, of the different forms, which is a more popular one? Which is a very common one?
I think Shiva, because they say he's the he created the earth, so
Shiva.
I think, yeah, Shiva.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And is your town, is it big? Is it small? Is it medium size?
I guess bigger than Beppu. But yeah, it's like medium, not very big, not very small.
Okay, well, sounds like a good place. Do you see yourself living there forever when you get older?
I wish to, but I don't think so that I would be there
Oh,
for my
why?
life, because if I think about my career right now, I prefer being in Japan for at least 5 years, and even if I go back, it would be some other city or bigger city where I'll be working, because my place, we don't have job opportunity so much, because it's not even a manufacturing area or an industrial area, so I don't think so.
Okay, thanks. Michael, what time did you get up this morning?
About 7. No, 6.
Really? Is that like your normal schedule?
I usually get up around 6, yeah.
Yeah?
Go to bed around 11, get up at 6 on a good day. Sometimes go to bed later.
Yeah. Do you have to have an alarm clock when you get up?
I sometimes set an alarm if it's a really important day, but I almost never need it. You know what I mean? It's just like a backup.
Right, right. Yeah, I always wake up at first sunlight. Like, I can't sleep once it's light outside.
You're like a natural animal.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, I never use an alarm clock. Now, you have a beautiful dog. I saw your dog.
And
Red.
she will sometimes wake us up.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Because, she has a natural cycle. So at 6 in the morning, bam, you start to hear her wagging her tail or scratching or trying to get attention. Time to get up.
That's so cool. I want a dog. Yeah. So do you walk your dog in the morning?
Yeah, and that's another ritual I have is she needs a walk early in the morning. So I've got this route. It's about a 2-mile walk that we go on. Almost the same exact route every morning. It takes about 30 minutes or so to do.
So in some countries or places, you need a leash for your dog, so your dog can't get away from you. Do you have a leash for your dog?
Yeah. I keep her on a leash when we're walking where there are other people because, a lot of people are not comfortable with big dogs.
Right.
But she will stay close to me even without a leash.
Right.
But I do it for their comfort.
Yeah.
But if we're in an open area, I'll let her off the leash, and she loves that.
That's so good because, I'm a runner, and it always freaks me out when I see people with their dogs, and they're big, and the dogs aren't on a leash.
You kind of wonder, is this dog safe to go past? Or...
Well, yeah, and plus I'm running behind the owner of the dogs, and so I might startle the owner and startle the dogs, and then the dogs might be protective and attack me. Yeah. So sometimes I actually holler in advance, "Hey, I'm coming, I'm coming."
Right.
So
yeah.
Oh, cool. Thanks, Mike. Um, hey, Michael, I just met your wife. She's a really nice woman.
Hmm.
Really friendly.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we met a long time ago. We've been married a lot of years now.
Uh-huh.
And
How did you meet actually?
oh gosh, we met back when we were both students at Arizona State University in Tempe, Arizona.
Uh-huh.
And I had volunteered to be the one of the tour guides for new students, foreign students who were, just coming in for that school year.
Uh-huh.
And it was the end of August, and it was very steamy, very hot day. And I remember I met the students, there were maybe 4 or 5 of them waiting in front of the student union for this walking orientation tour of the campus. It's a beautiful campus, by the way. And so, I remember, she was sitting on this bench, and I went, and, she smiled at me, I smiled at her, and there was some kind of spark.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Like a connection.
There was a connection. There was a connection there. And we went on this walking tour of the campus, and when we were done, I kind of reluctantly sort of said goodbye to her and the rest of the group, and kind of said, "See you around." And I think the next day even she went and found out who I was and where I worked, and she dropped in my office and
Wow,
said
that's pretty
hi.
cool. It's pretty romantic.
It was very cool, very romantic. And funny thing is that particular bench,
Yeah.
where we met, on our anniversary, 20th anniversary, we went back to the campus
No way.
where we met, and we took a picture of ourselves on this same bench
Oh,
because this is where we first met.
what a great story.
It was very cool to go back there.
So, in terms of your personality, how are you guys similar?
How are we similar? Oh man, I think we're more different than anything.
Yeah.
I think our biggest similarity is that we're both so different. In other
Uh-huh.
words, that we're both very tolerant
Yeah.
of people who are different. And so we kind of get along. We have an understanding that we're going to misunderstand each other most of the time.
Right, right.
But we sort of approach that with a kind of humor
Yeah, right.
and flexibility. So I think that's what makes our relationship work, is that we've got that kind of agreement.
So do you think that's the key to any successful marriage?
Is not getting so upset at misunderstanding each other, or kind of using misunderstanding as a way of getting to know each other.
Mm.
I think that is one of the keys.
That's nice. Thanks.
Sure.
So, Marion, what are you going to do for dinner tonight?
I think I'll go home, see what's in my fridge and in my cupboard, and cook something up. I'm not sure what yet.
Are you going to cook?
Yeah, of course.
Oh. Actually, I almost never cook. I cook maybe once or twice a year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what do you do then? What do you eat?
Oh, I always eat out. I buy my dinner every night. I think it's just better.
Oh my God, every night.
Every night. Yeah.
How is it better, Todd? I don't understand.
Well, I mean, I know it's a waste of money, but I look at it, it just saves me a lot of time.
Right, okay.
So I don't have to go buy the food, store the food, then prepare the food, then cook the food, then clean up afterwards.
Yeah, I don't like that part so much.
Right. When you just eat out, it's quick and easy, saves you time.
I think, though, I can see what you're saying about the time factor, but for me, sometimes cooking is a way of almost relieving stress, or if I'm thinking about the day that's gone by and maybe something has stressed me out, I'll just go into the kitchen, and as long as I'm on my own, because I like to cook on my own, I don't have to talk to anybody, and I can think about, things that are going on, and while I'm chopping the onions or, opening tins or whatever I'm doing, it's just a time for me where I don't have to think about anything else, really, apart from the food I'm preparing, and then if something floats into my mind, I can kind of deal with it at the same time. I find it quite relaxing.
Actually, I could see that. Actually, I run every night.
Oh,
So
yeah?
I love jogging, and I
Mm.
usually jog for about an hour. And
Mm.
so when I come home, I'm sweaty. I need to take a
Mm.
shower,
Yeah.
and I just don't have time then to use more time to cook
Mm.
because I get home late from work.
Yeah.
So I just buy my food on my way home from my
Mm.
run to save time.
That surprises me actually because I know you run, so you're really into your fitness. But do you not consider the health factor about buying food all the time because it's always processed food, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I try to go to the deli in the supermarket,
Oh, okay.
and they always have nice people behind the counter.
Mm.
Often, some sweet old lady or something, and she's made some nice salad or some dish, and I always figure she can make it better than me,
Right.
right?
Probably.
And when I buy it, I'm providing a job for somebody else, right? So there's a lot of good benefits by doing this system. Plus, it's very
Mm.
social, right? Because I live alone, so I
Yeah.
talk to the person at the counter, and I get variety every night.
Yeah, that's true though, but if you went to the kitchen of the place where you stay and you cooked, that would be very social as well, don't you think?
Yeah, but I live alone. Who would I talk to?
The other people in your communal kitchen? Don't you have a big communal kitchen?
No. I live alone.
Ah, okay.
Oh, I used to share a kitchen, but yeah, now I live alone.
Right. Okay. So then I can understand the social aspect. I really enjoy going out for dinner actually with my friends. I really enjoy that part. But if it's just me, I kind of feel. I think in Japan it's quite easy to go into a restaurant on your own, but in Ireland I would feel very kind of strange and awkward if I went to a restaurant on my own. I'd feel like people are looking at me and saying, "Oh, she's got no friends."
Oh man, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
And I have no friends.
That's not true.
So Marion, now you lived in Italy,
That's right.
and when people think of Italy, they think of food.
Yes.
Yeah, and can you talk about the food in Italy?
Sure, I'd love to. I love Italian food.
I know, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I suppose everybody thinks immediately of pasta and pizza, right?
Right.
Yeah, they're the two most common types of Italian food, and they are really good. I mean, it just bears no comparison, I think, to the pasta and the pizza that we get in other countries. Also, the ice cream, actually, in Italy is just different from any other country in the world, I think. They really have the number ones on those three items, I think. But apart from that, I mean, there's a whole world of Italian food, and it's all really, really good. I mean, the first time I lived in Italy, I lived in Genoa, so that was by the sea. Obviously, then there's a lot of seafood involved in the cooking, fish stews and that kind of thing, and they were really, really good. Also, that region around Genoa is where pesto originated. So you know the basil sauce
Oh
that you
yeah,
have?
yeah.
Yeah. So that's from Liguria, which is the area around Genoa. So while I lived in Genoa, I think I must have had some form of a pesto dish at least once a week, but I loved it. It's one of my favorite tastes, actually, pesto.
Yeah, pesto's great.
Yeah, yeah. You can add it to anything and it tastes great. I put it on my sandwiches sometimes. Yeah, so Italian food, it's quite difficult to talk about Italian food, really, because in Italy there are so many different regions. So all over the country, each region has its own special dish or special dishes. So the food can really vary from the north to the south. In the north, for example, in some areas, you can find food that's more like German food, or in the south, it's more Mediterranean, like Greek food, for example. It tends that direction.
And so, Marion, you've lived in Italy.
Yes.
Italy has many famous cities.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about them?
Sure. Well, the first city I lived in was Genoa. And Genoa is on the Riviera, so it's a very beautiful place. It's a port city, so my apartment was actually looking out over the port. So I had a great apartment. It was a great view. Genoa has a very old center, so the buildings are hundreds and hundreds of years old, obviously, but it's quite dirty. Well, I don't really want to say dirty, but it's not very well looked after, the
Yeah.
historical center, which is a pity, but it does have really a lot of character. I really liked it.
So what other cities have you been to?
Well, I've been to Rome, of course. I've been to Rome a few times. I think it's one of my favorite cities, actually. I love the fact that in Rome you walk out of your hotel or wherever you're staying and you're just surrounded by history, by just amazing, the Colosseum, for example. Actually, the first time I ever arrived in Italy, I came from the airport directly to the Colosseum station, and I walked out the door of that metro station, and there was the Colosseum in front of me. It was one of those moments. It's just,
Yeah.
oh my God. And there was a full moon up to the left of the Colosseum. It was like almost too perfect, too good to be true.
Did you get a chance to go to Venice?
Yes, I did. Actually, I went to Venice a couple of times. The first time I went was great. We had a chance to travel around or walk around and see the city for ourselves. It's really amazing, all these bridges, and if you want to get anywhere, you have to hop on a boat. The second time I went, though, was for Carnival,
Oh, wow, that
Carnevale.
must have been fun.
That was amazing. So everybody is dressed up in their costumes, and the costumes are really, really elaborate, actually. And people were having their faces painted, that kind of thing. And everybody was in really good spirits, It was a great occasion.
Oh, sounds fun. And lastly, did you get a chance to go to Florence?
Yes, I did, actually. I went often because I lived an hour away in Pisa. So Florence is amazing. It's just maybe the most cultural city after Rome as regards art galleries and that kind of thing. And just the city itself, it's all that kind of terracotta hues of the buildings, and big piazzas, lots of statues, and it has a bit of a rich feel to it, actually. So, yeah, it's a really good place to people watch as well.
And Milan, did you get a chance to go to Milan?
Yeah, I stayed with a friend in Milan actually for a couple of weeks, just a few years ago. Even though I'd passed through before, I didn't really like it because it's a big built-up city, lots of smog and pollution. But when I stayed there with my friend and got to know it a bit better, I ended up quite liking it.
Okay. Well, lastly, just real quickly, if somebody was going to Italy and there was only one city they could see, what would you recommend?
It would be Rome, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Marion.
You're welcome.
Nitya,
Yeah.
you grew up in India.
Yeah.
In India, what are things that school children like to do for fun?
I think playing hide and seek, and I think what all children like in the world, it's the same, I guess, because like when I came here in Japan, there was one thing I was really surprised. I went with first and second grade kids one day to their school, and I was shocked that they play the same games which we play back in India. So I think kids find all over the same things to play.
Right.
I mean, jumping on their one leg and like holding hands and running and merry-go and things like that. So
Yeah.
it's like
It's always the same.
all the same.
Now, you went to a school in Japan. Now you live in Japan. Is school the same in Japan as it is in India?
No, it's totally different. The education system, the things, the whole administration, it's just very different from India, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can you give us some examples of how India might be different?
Yeah, like first thing is like here one period is 90 minutes, but there we have 45 minutes periods only.
Oh, I
like
see.
in the classes system, and here it's like even though if it's quarter or semester system, you take a subject and you learn it only for 2.5 months, but the same subject if it's back home in India, we do it like for 1 year or 6 months. So the length and the depth is more than here.
Now, in India, in let's say primary school or elementary school,
Yeah.
normally how many students are in a class?
Primary school's like 30 students, 30 or 35.
Uh-huh.
But it keep increasing as you go to secondary, you know. It goes up to sometimes 60. Yeah.
Wow. Now, in your town, in your village, is instruction in English or is it in another language?
Okay, like though it's a small town, but we have a university which is second largest in India area-wise in whole world.
Wow.
So yeah, so I studied there. My whole education was there up to my high school. But then later I went to southern part of India for 4 years education.
Uh-huh. And so the instruction was in English?
In English and in Hindi, both, because there are central government schools, so it's supposed to be English.
Oh, I see.
But on the whole, it turns up to be back in mother tongue when we speak in school and everything. But the teachers do give instructions in English.
Okay. And how about you've been to a Japanese school?
Yeah.
What about school lunches? Like, what do kids eat for lunch at a school in India?
In India,
And how do they eat lunch? Is there a cafeteria? Do they bring a lunch?
I think most of them bring lunch, and cafeteria is supposed to be considered unhygienic by mothers, so they are not very favored towards cafeteria food, but we love it because there are so many snacks and oily things which usually kids like, and like, you know, spicy kind of things, but mothers are always against it. So we do bring lunches. Sometimes we take it back, Sona Mama, and eat at cafeteria or give it to somebody, things like that.
Well, in India, what is a typical lunch that a mother would make for her children?
Okay, it is usually chapati made by wheat flour and some kind of stew, that kind of thing, or like, you know, potatoes and vegetables kind of thing.
Right, you said chapati?
Yeah.
What is a chapati?
Chapati, it's like a pizza base, and it's made by wheat flour.
So it's
a round thing, a thin round thing.
It's a thin round piece of bread?
Yeah, exactly.
And is there something on it or in it?
Yeah, we eat it with some potato curry or things like that.
Is the curry on the outside or the inside?
No, it's separate.
Oh, really?
You eat it with this. It's
oh,
like
I
that.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, thanks, Nitya.
Yeah, thank you.